On your profile, you say you went from being suicidal to being a multi-million dollar CEO. Could you talk a little bit about that journey?
Let's go back to where it all kind of started. So, 15 years ago, I finished my master's degree in engineering, and I had this dream that I wanted to join this robotics company. When I had that moment when I wanted to really end my life, and I was looking down the balcony of my parents' condo. When you think the rich have a lot, they also have a lot of everything. Like they have the resources, but they also have the stress, the burden, the pressure. There was this like small voice that just came into my heart and said, Jedi, I didn't bring you this far just so you can come this far. And that was a life-changing moment for me. And
I like what you're doing. And I'd like to talk a little bit about your story. It's in some respects, it's a very common story. And in other respects, it's a very uncommon story at the same time. So on your tagline on your profile, you say you went from being suicidal to being a multi-million dollar CEO and then, all this amazing stuff you're doing. Could you talk a little bit about that journey?
things might get a bit emotional, so be warned. But yeah, man. So let's go back to where it all kind of started. So 15 years ago, I finished my master's degree in engineering, and I had this dream that I wanted to join this robotics company called ABS, which is one of the top ones in the industries. They make all these robot arms and they do all the machines for the big manufacturers. And I really enjoyed that process. That's why I went to school in that area. But lo and behold, when I was in Singapore, what happened was I didn't have anyone call me for an interview. Like I had 0 interviews, brother. And I was like, damn, I spent so I burnt my parents' money because I spent 3 years in the UK, 2 years in Singapore. That's a lot of money. It's very costly. And then now I've got no job, man. So I'm like, crap, what next? And dude, that was one of the lowest moments in my journey. Like, it's like 5 years of all this time, this money spent, and then you're like, no one wants me. Like, I thought it was supposed to be like a big dream, like you go to a good school, you will get a master's degree. It's supposed to be easier, right? Easier. Ended up being a restaurant manager instead. So I went from an engineer to a restaurant manager. I was blessed to have the opportunity to help my mom's friend at her restaurant. I learned a lot about customer service, and I actually recommend anyone who wants to be an entrepreneur to really try find an opportunity where you can really, really serve people at the lowest level. Because first off, you really humble yourself and you remove all the ego that you think that you need to have, like, once you become a billionaire or whatnot, and then you can be rich and then you can, talk shit to people. Because when you become that person that people talk shit to, when they're not feeling well or when they have a bad day, you understand firsthand what it means to be treated wrongly. So then you won't want to treat others like that when you excel in your career as well. Then I guess God turned a very unfortunate event into a blessing. So one of my dad's closest employee at that time, like his A player, resigned. And not just resigned, she also backstabbed him by taking a group of his customers and then opening her own company. And so he was left kind of like empty without anyone to kind of help him with the international side of the business. Now, because I went to school abroad, I had the capacity to understand more English than the rest of our team at that time. So he called me back home. And I was like, okay, sure, Dad. I mean, I got no job. I'm just doing this customer service job. I think I can go back home and help you. It's better. At least I'm not spending more money and at least can help him in some ways. And then through that journey, once I came back, I started basically at the bottom, just like an admin in a company, right? And I would be the one who talked with all of our suppliers, and then I'll translate all of the brochures, all of the technical stuff, all of the machines that we sold. I would translate all of them into Thai. So that was a new skill for me. I was like, I can actually do it. And and then once you get to talk to the suppliers and you understand their markets, I got curious on what worked for them and started to ask more questions on why they are such a global company. So I learned a lot through that process, and then I started to implement some of the stuff into our company. And in a matter of just a few quick years, I started to be able to basically understand all of our product range. And this is like a 30 plus year old business at that time when I started. And there were team members in the company that have been here for a long time and just stayed in their lane. But instead of going niche down, I niched each one and I then went broad. And so through that experience, a large group of the employees wanted me to become kind of like the big boss instead of my dad. I didn't go to management school. I had no idea how to lead. I didn't really understand kind of like the capacity to really take on the pressure of like, whoa, now I've got to think about payroll of my team. At that time when I took over the company, I had 120 people that was under me from zero, right? And then, boom.
You went from managing no one to managing 120 people.
Yeah, yeah.
That's incredible. And how did you make that transition?
I just jumped in, and that's why that jump was so intense that there were many moments in my journey that I really, really felt like ending my life would end the pain, because I just couldn't have I didn't have the capacity in my heart to be able to handle that pressure yet. Because when you have a new team who's from different backgrounds, some saw me grow up, when I was a child and I was running around the office. Now I'm their boss. So, man, it was so tough. It was so tough. And then plus on that, as a CEO, you're the face of the company. So I made a lot of costly mistakes, David, if I'm very honest. And some of them so in total, I think during my time as a CEO, I think I've cost the company, I think like $5 million US right now. So for people in the US, it might not be so much, but like for us here in Thailand, it's a lot of money. And it's something that it leaves a mark on you. And it's like, damn, am I doing anything wrong? And of course, all the words of the devil come to you. Oh, you suck.
Yeah,
you got no
self-doubt.
Oh, dude. So self-doubt just like went through the roof, man. Like, talk about man, I still have this problem that I have to fight this demon every single day, that I have to really make an intention each day to really wake up, to be with the Lord, to spend time with God, to really take His power and His love in, and to be really grounded in His love with who I am in Christ, and not be lost in the identity of my work. If you follow me on Instagram, I had kind of like a breakdown 2 days ago. To be very honest with you, I got so angry because of one of my trusted A players. She left, and then she also left a lot of undone work that I entrusted her with. Plus, she basically kind of committed treason. Like, she brought in other people's work to work inside my company during my time, and also encouraged my existing team to do the same.
Okay, that sounds rough.
But then I realized that breakdown, that emotional trigger that I had, came from because in the past few months and stuff, I've been so ingrained, or I guess focused on who I am as a person because of my work, instead of who I am in Christ first. And I kind of lost that for a bit. And so yesterday I had this whole day of just my AirPods in. I had this worship music just soaking in the presence of God, and that has really helped me a lot, man. So yeah. Sorry, it's a bit of a long answer.
No, that's fine. That's great to see that transition, but also you never gave up. Like, that says a lot about you. You didn't leave the company hanging. It sounds like you're making back that 5 to 6 million you may have cost them initially, and I'm sure you'll make more than that. You've taken classes in design thinking and management, and you've really taken it upon yourself to grow, I've found in myself that sometimes feeling like humbled or feeling unworthy or like an imposter forces you, it puts a fire in you to try harder than you otherwise might. And so you're constantly poring over new information, asking people questions. You're not too proud to ask anyone anything. And so that can help you grow in ways that are profound. And that certainly seems to be the case with you.
Yeah, man, dude. Thanks for that tip. I've actually never framed it that way. Yeah, it's true, brother. It does give you the drive and the hunger to keep kind of like beating that imposter syndrome of just trying to get better, right? Basically.
Right. And you've studied in Singapore, you studied in the UK. What was the thinking there coming from Bangkok? Did you want to have kind of a global perspective to your education?
So I grew up in an international school that was based on the American system. All I had in my naive mind at that time, lack of ambition, no goals, no world changer kind of BS at that time. Right? I was like, yeah, man, I just want something different. You know, let's try the British system. Maybe it's better. And that's kind of like that mindset right there. And I ended up getting to go to what I would find out later was one of the top schools in the UK, which is was also a blessing. Yeah.
What is it like coming back to Bangkok with a UK or Singapore education? Does it pretty much translate, or do you have to learn then once again the local way of doing things now that you've kind of had your mind outside of Thailand?
To be honest, this is a problem that I still battle in my company as well, because the Thai culture is very laid back. It's very in Thai we have this word called sabai sabai, which means just chill out. Everything's cool, just chill, just because we have so many resources. We have food everywhere. There's food stalls on the streets. Food is relatively cheap. If you make a good enough income, you're like really like you can really chill if you chose a very chill life, and so it's been a challenge to inspire people to change or to even grow, because most don't really have a clear incentive to grow. And what's funny, I'm not sure how much you follow like the research on the Asian markets. Thailand has one of the highest spending on lottery tickets, David. So we are pure gamblers, bro. Like we're pure gamblers. Like we like crypto, NFTs, anything that has that potential to do like 1,000x that can turn me into a millionaire overnight. Thais are in it, man. So that mentality is very opposed to the mentality of like hard work, of grit, trying to strive to become the best version of yourself. And it was a really tough thing that I had to learn and still have to adjust and have to keep creating more empathy in myself, because not everyone can afford the education that I had and that I still am able to today. So it's also my job as a leader to also empower the team consistently, to train them, to teach them. Of course, once you reach out the hand, it's still their choice to take that hand and shake it as well. So it's still on them to take what you teach. But as a teacher, as a leader, as a CEO of the company, I personally believe strongly that every single owner of a company needs to be at the forefront of the training of their team members. And after this interview, we'll be doing a leadership training for the whole company, not just for the leaders.
Yeah, nice. So looking at design thinking, I'm curious, how did you apply that in your organization? What was the reason for studying it for you?
Such a great question. I've always had this inclination towards design, and my dad dressed well since I was young. Like he always dressed nice and colorful. So I always wanted to see how we could apply the principles of design to the concept of work. And so once that concept of design of thinking was, I guess, popular, I got interested in it. And it allows us as a company that service B2B clients to be able to bring a systematic approach for our customers and as well as for our internal problems. But to be very honest with you, like I've not applied it so much as I could have, because right now we're in the phase of we're trying to fight fire almost every single day, which is a good thing because we have fire from our customers. So, we're expanding quite fast. And we're also in the process of implementing a new ERP system, SAP V1, which is a huge investment for our company.
It's like the biggest one.
Yes. And we purposely picked it because we're aiming to be one of the top leaders in Thailand as well. So we're like, okay, we're going for the top ones. And it is supposed to be the best. So let's go with the best. But anyways, it just allowed me to have new frameworks in my mind as I'm designing my own life, my work day, how I structure my meetings with my team, and just add a bit more structure because I didn't go to management school, right? So that concept of board meetings, blah blah blah, dude, those are like I have no training in that. Like I made up all of my trainings, I created all of my meetings, and so I guess once we are a global company, once we get to that level, then I guess we'll popularize our own workplace concepts by then.
Yeah, I've seen people apply that to like pricing strategy. And I think it really lends itself to the outsider perspective. Like you said, you weren't like classically trained in business. You kind of came in as an outsider and picking up like with 120 employees that you had to manage. So in a way, I think it's actually really great to have design thinking principles and just iterate and kind of prototype the user experience, I guess. And maybe we could talk a little bit about what does your company do? Could you describe it to us?
Of course. So if you travel on planes, once you get to the airports, you go through a security checkpoint, right? So there's the walk-through metal detectors. So the brand of the metal detectors that's used globally, right, on a global scale, we're their distributors for Thailand. So it means that all of the airports in Thailand are serviced by us. And on top of that, we also have the X-ray machine. So once you go through the metal detectors, you put your baggage down through the X-ray machines, right? So we sell the X-ray machines as well. So we have that. That's one of our niche. Our second niche is cash automation. So Thailand is very well known for the tourism here in Thailand, for the good and the bad tourism, I guess. We provide them with the foreign currency exchange machines that's used by the banks, and as well as the counting machine that helps the exchange booths check if the notes that's coming through customers are fake or not, and as well as help count them. And then we also have the big machines that's at the back end of the cash centers. So those machines do the job of sorting the good and the bad notes, and then the bad notes get sent to the Bank of Thailand to be destroyed or recycled, and then the good notes get refilled into the ATMs. We do approximately, right now we're doing 8 to 9 million US dollars per year. We are launching 3 software products by the end of this year. I'm looking to add a good 1 mil to that through our software services and have that recurring through the subscription-based style as well. So we do around, I think our customer base, we have 9,000 clients that we service in Thailand.
Impressive. Was this business, did it look pretty much like it looks now when you took it over 10, 12 years ago, when you stepped in rather, a decade ago?
No. It was really much like a mom and pop shop back then. It was like, so just think of like a hardware store, right, David? Like a hardware store that's run by like a family, and then you have like the customers walk in, and then you give them a machine, and then they pay you cash. That was kind of like how our company was. We had no nice and clean brochures, no YouTube channel, no Facebook, no way to connect to the customers directly. So I rebranded the company 3 times, so this is the 3rd time.
3rd time's the charm.
Yeah, hopefully. Amen to that. Amen.
So you mentioned, I think that you were you're thinking of going global. Is that right?
Yeah.
What, without maybe giving away too much of your strategy or whatever,
it's fine.
How do you go about, like I'm thinking information for other entrepreneurs, how do you go about taking something that works really well domestically and now you're looking into, is it a regional shift first and then global, or are you going straight to global as you went from 0 to 120 employees?
That's kind of like the concept that I've always always had, go big or just go home, right? So I'm gonna try as hard as I can to go global as much as I can. Now, it ties into like I think every entrepreneur should ask what are their strengths first, like what really are their competitive advantages that no one else have. I've been very blessed to, I was in Thailand, yes, but also the friends that I have the network with, they're not just all from Thailand. They're they're all global people. There's friends in Taiwan, I have friends in Canada, in the U.S. I have family in the U.S. Actually, I have a couple doctor friends that's in the U.S. as well, and so and then plus I've also been blessed with working with these global suppliers that have a global base, right? So if I can create a solution that works for the walkthrough metal detectors, that works for Thailand, and now we have the access of the internet, right? That's how you and me got to connect. I can then see, okay, if this product does not have this solution in, let's say, Italy, in France, in Taiwan, in Singapore, then why not us, right? And all I need to do is just go through the Chamber of Commerce. This is also a big hack for every entrepreneur. You would be surprised that in every developed nation, at least here in Thailand, all of the developed countries like Europe, France, Britain, Italy, Taiwan, Hong Kong, Singapore, Australia, they all have a Chamber of Commerce here in Thailand. And the Australian, let's take Australia for example. Australia hires a local Thai person that's paid by the Australian government to be here to connect Thai entrepreneurs to go expand in Australia. It's something that they want. Every country wants investors to come in. It's standard. So if you understand this principle and if you have a product that you know for sure that there's a potential, at least like one or two potential things that you can do for each country, that's a good. That's a head start. So that's how we plan to go global, just by simply designing solutions based on software at least, or a mixture of maybe some small pieces of hardware, some tech. Now we have some really, really awesome chips. And Thailand is actually a base for chip manufacturers. And it's growing a lot. Recently, I think the CEO of Microsoft was here last week, and he said that he's going to invest like a couple billion here in Thailand to increase their data centers. So with this trend, if Thai people really understand and capitalize, we can really expand really quickly. And as well as any entrepreneur who's going to watch this show, if you're in Italy, you're in France, you're in the UK, man, take advantage of the Chamber of Commerce that's from each country. Just go in there, go and network with people. You're going to be blown away, man. It's just right at your doorstep, basically.
Great advice. What is the entrepreneurial mindset like in Thailand? You mentioned that typically the culture has been somewhat laid back because it's like paradise, great, beautiful views and food and everything. But, I can feel the excitement coming off of you. There must be other Thais that are really driven and see the opportunity. Are you starting to see a shift now where there's some innovation happening?
There's definitely a lot of innovation. I was at one of the biggest I was one of the biggest investors forum that are all like the big investors in Thailand, and they kind of had a forum sharing their thoughts on the local market as well as a global scale. And all of them said the exact same thing that one of my coaches said as well, who's Thai, but he's been global multiple times now. But the thing that stuck with me is that, unfortunately, now I'm not saying this to I'm a Thai too, but unfortunately, most Thai entrepreneurs still think quite small, or they think too small. Most entrepreneurs here in Thailand, they're just aiming to just get rich in Thailand. But to be really, really wealthy, where you have unlimited resources to really change lives, millions of lives, like you need that access to the global wealth. So not it's there's not that many people here in Thailand that have that vision from day one, compared with entrepreneurs in China. When they come out day one, I set up a company. This is going to be a global company. That's their day one mentality. So that's the key kind of thing that you see. Of course, my friends, most of my friends, at least right now, are passionate like me, but most of them are like kind of happy, which is okay. Okay, we're gonna grow 20% this year. We're gonna grow 30% this year because I mean, the norm is just growing 5% every year as long as we beat inflation. We're good. So it's like there's that group, right? And then there's the other group of like, let's go 10x, baby. Let's double our revenue. Let's double our profits with the same team. Let's use technology, and then we all get nice payouts. Like that's how I run my company, at least.
Okay. And what are your goals? Do you want to stay with this company for the rest of your life? Or are you looking to grow it and sell it by a certain point?
Great question, man. I don't have a clear answer. To be very frank with you, I think you can kind of tell from my doubt in answering this. I think it depends on a lot of factors. The first thing is that because since I got married with my wife, we made a commitment that both of us are going to make decisions together. It means that since now she's working alongside me, and we see each other as one, right? And at any time, if she feels like this is not the place for her, I would be pushing towards selling. But as long as she's still having fun, then we're gonna drive this as far as I can get. Yeah.
Because it seems like you can really turn it into whatever you want it to be. You just add on or acquire different industries or verticals, and you can become a conglomerate and have global access, like you said, to resources and talent. And yeah, you're the captain of a ship. So that's really great.
That's one of my dreams, man. Is just to be able to really, because I managed to like fight a lot of the devils and the demons that I know every single male person has to go through. Um, Peer pressure, smoking, drinking, being porn, and just choosing to live a pure life vs living like the world. And and I honestly feel deep down inside that what God has put me through is too big for me to just share to the Thai people. At least that's what I feel. Because if it was only for a Thai person, then why did God allow me the opportunity to study in such a vast, I guess, in a diverse environment where I had friends from Hong Kong, from Taiwan, from Ireland, from UK, from Pakistan, from Iran, from Egypt, from Africa. So I've seen the world in my friends, and so I just feel like, I don't know, man. Perhaps maybe I just think too much.
Well, it's the worst things you could do too much of. So I'd like to pivot to your peer group or your community that you're building. Do you like what was the impetus or what was the reason that made you want to start that?
I just wanted to stop complaining about how the government is blah blah blah, how the education system is blah 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 blah, and I just wanted to do something about it, man. And that's just kind of my way of expressing and taking action on what I can do. And that's just purely it, man. It's just be the change
So
you
you
want to
just
see
create
in
your own community
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
like with no borders.
Yeah, because I've learned so much from people like yourself, from Dan Martell, who's my coach. I've learned so much from John Maxwell. I've learned so much from a lot of these authors around the world that I haven't even met, And imagine what we could do together if we met, and if I got to their level and I got into the same room as them. I think just a couple, maybe 10, 12, 20 people maximum. I think we can really change the world upside down for the better, man.
I don't think we have an upper bound, so to speak. I think it's like almost like a hallway of mirrors of growth. You think of an idea in a different way than I would. I interpret it in a different way than you would. I give that back to you, and it just keeps scaling from there. And like you say, multiply that by 10 or 20 people, and you could do some really profound things.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I've seen I've seen preachers. I've seen John Maxwell. I've seen Tony Robbins. You know, just one dude, one person, 20,000, right? Plus like 10,000 online. So that's 30,000 in that one single time, right? So imagine if we have 20 of us doing that at the same time at the community, in the community. I mean, cities are gonna change, towns are gonna change. Like the country's not gonna be the same, bro. And life is just gonna be better because when when the leaders get better, everyone around them gets better, you know, and then the environment, like once you overflow, it's gonna spill out in terms of the resources, business opportunities, connection, family, bonding, and stuff like that. It's just yeah, man. It's like the fruit of just one single thing. So I guess that's kind of like the fire that's in my belly.
Yeah, yeah, it's incredible. It can start with just one person. Are you hosting, or are you planning rather any live events? Like you mentioned Tim Robbins, are you planning to do something like that for you and your community? Have like a live event?
Dude, if I wasn't stuck in, well, not really stuck. If I didn't, if I had all of the resources without the company right now, that would be the exact thing that I would be doing. So if I banked in $1 billion right now, that would be the exact thing that I would be doing. I would be flying around the world and just running meetups with entrepreneurs. I would do my best to get the best people in that room, serve men, people, families, the worst of the worst that just don't have access, or they have never had anyone that told them into their eyes that you're worth it, man, and you can do it. Like if this bozo can do it, then you then you've got a bigger start than I did, you know. So if this Asian dude here, yeah.
What was that for you that inspired you to get to where you are?
So when I had that moment when I wanted to really end my life, and I was on the not really on the edge of the building, but I was looking down the balcony of my parents' condo. Uh, we have this nice place that's overlooking the river. It's such a beautiful view, man. I'll send you a picture. It's kind of funny, right? Like when you think the rich have a lot, they also have a lot of everything. Like they have the resources, but they also have the stress, the burden, the pressure. So, um, and I, there was this like small voice that just came into my heart and said, you know, Jedi, I didn't bring you this far just so you can come this far. And that was a life-changing moment for me. And I remembered the next day, right after church, I went to the bookstore. And for some reason, I was walking down the aisle and I came across John Maxwell's teachings. And that just kind of like switched my life upside down, you know. And from then, my life has never been the same. And as you probably know, John Maxwell teaches a lot on intentional living, on living a life that leaves a legacy that's more than just the money. And that just really shifted my whole focus. Yeah.
It's incredible what mindset can do. I mean, it really is everything. It's the start of everything, at least. And you have now the capacity, that full spectrum of emotion, and it's quite the reservoir. And sometimes I find shame can actually be a superpower, almost like when you feel it and you don't give in. You're resilient against it, and it's like you propel into doing things superhuman. You have that energy that you don't relax just for the sake of relaxing. You know, you're intentional with your life, because it's an incredible gift, and a lot of energy all around us, within us. And when you start to kind of find your people, find your tribe, find those that vibrational resonance, it's you know, it's beyond the imagination, the stuff that you can do. It's quite an adventure.
I love what you said on using shame as a propeller, because I mean, going back all the way to my childhood, I was teased a lot when I was growing up, I don't remember what exactly they were teasing me, but my friends made up like they they took kind of like the things that I did and then kind of like blew it up. And because our school is so small, like it just got everywhere. And I had I still have some memories of like the girls laughing at me, and I was kind of like the joke to most of my peers back then. And so that was also one of the things that really pushed me really hard to get to where I am. But to not be, but I also have to keep my ego in check because I don't want to yes, I've done a lot. I have a lot. I've been, I mean, from going from someone who no one wanted to date to marrying Thailand Miss Universe 2018. It's like it's not it's like hell and heaven up there. And like dude, my wife showed me like she was actually hit on by like the most wanted guy in Thailand. Like he's like this superstar that every single girl would want to date him and stuff like that. But he chose me, and so I think it's I mean it's more than anyone could ever ask for, going back, my dad came from the slums, and that day when I picked up my Porsche, I took him for a ride, and I told my dad, I was like, Dad, look how far we've come, and yeah, it's just
Oh, sorry. I was just going to say you're not slowing down anytime soon. It looks like.
yeah, no. I want now that I have a Porsche, I want one more, but so I'm gonna keep going with it. No, but I have a very clear goal. Like before I end this journey on Earth, before God takes me home, I want to be able to impact the lives of 1 million people. And I don't know how, I don't know when, but I believe that the internet has helped me at least share parts of my journey. Share words of encouragement. There was this one lady that came up to me when I was at an event, and she's here in Thailand. And then she walked up to me and she said, Jedi, because of your podcast, I took action, and I'm about to finish my PhD. And I felt like I wanted to do nothing. I was shameful of my life. But through your podcast, I took action, and now I'm going to finish my PhD soon, thanks to you. So I'm like, there's like that story is okay. It makes it all worth it.
Yeah, definitely. So you're not even near the beginning, near the middle of your journey, but looking back on this past decade or so, what is the top of your mind was one like misunderstanding or mistake that you made that actually with your new thinking you see in a different light that you could share with the entrepreneurial community?
If anyone is looking to get into B2B sales, there's one important skill that you really need to master and understand, which is the art of selling. Complex selling. Complex selling is the art of being able to manage relationships between a lot of different stakeholders in the organization. So this mistake cost me. It was 1.2 million US dollars approximately in terms of the deal size, because I didn't understand that when you're going to a big corporation, especially when you're trying to sell a big project like that, that's worth 1 mil plus, you need to really be able to take care of the one who's in charge of the budget, which is the purchasing department, the IT, if you are dealing with a software platform, the management, of course, and the people that are going to be using it at the branch or at the office or whatnot. So you really need to have all those dialed in. And unfortunately, I was very focused back then to just the people that were the business side of things. And I was very focused on the users, but I lost touch of the rest. Hence, my competitors had the upper hand. And so that was one costly mistake that you guys can learn from me, for sure.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. Just understanding maybe who the stakeholders are and who your decisions touch, and then trying to give everyone the white glove treatment or as good of a situation as you can. Great advice.
And it's not hard as well. It's a very simple switch of mindset. Like, okay, now I understand. So just spending more time with each department, just being more intentional with the deal, knowing that the deal size is high. Like it should be expected for you to do more. And if you were just selling to like a smaller business, with one owner and with perhaps maybe like a few employees, when you're dealing with a big bank here in Thailand, of course, you're expected to do more work, right?
Guess so. Yeah. Well, I really want to thank you for sharing your journey with us, being transparent and humble, and you've done amazing things, and I can see you're only getting started. So, where can people follow you and track your growth?
Yeah, so if you like my English content, of course, it's mostly on X or Twitter, but you can kind of follow my life daily on Instagram. It's on the same tag, so you just search for Jedi Trinupab, and I'm there. And you can also find me on YouTube. I have a family YouTube channel as well, where you can see my whole family, and you can also see our company TikTok, our channel. We're on almost every single platform. I usually I try to respond to every single DM, as long as you're not trying to sell me something. Like if you're just trying to connect, like I'm all ears. I want to be as approachable as I can. I don't think I'm any near done. So thank you for being such a great host. If I could share one more key lesson for entrepreneurs who have this big vision, right, that they want to scale. I didn't really understand this part until like just 3 years ago of how important finding the right employees to join your team is until 3 years ago. And I really want to emphasize that if you want to grow and scale, it's so crucial that you don't play nice, especially when it comes to firing and hiring people. Because I was I was trying to play Jesus in a way, we can forgive them. It's grace, 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 grace. But when it comes to a business main function is to be profitable. Now, it's unfair for the rest of the employees even if there's only one underperforming team member, and even if you like that team member, even if you get along well with that team member, you have to let them go if they're underperforming after discussions and coaching. And if you're not willing to be in line with the company goals and vision, let them go early. 10 years ago, when I had that kind of maturity to understand people more, I wanted to let go a select group of people that were in our company at that time, David, and we were going to have to pay around $100,000 to let them go all at once. And I really, really wanted to let them go at that time, and I was dead serious to my dad. I was like, "Dad, got to let them go." And we waited for 10 more years. And I had to pay even more, 2x of that from what we had to pay them to leave this time frame. So don't be a loser like me and make the tough decisions early on. Anyone who is toxic, who's spreading rumors, who's even if they've been with you since the start, sometimes it's their choice, and the company is not going to go. It needs to keep going, and it's better off for you to let them go early than later, for sure. Just want to leave you that.
That's great advice. I sometimes externalized things that annoyed me. So if someone was, not the best collaborator or employee or friend or whatever, I would think I'm fine, they're wrong or something. And I didn't realize how much I might be letting them down by not communicating, by people pleasing, or by just putting up with it, hoping for the change without being the change yourself. Sometimes you're actually doing them a favor by saying no. And so, in some respects, maybe they won't thank you right then, but long term, looking back, maybe they'll be like, "That was the kick in the rear I needed to shape up." People won't put up with that. I tell people it's like a jungle out there, and we have to survive. And so I can like you doesn't mean that I can employ you, kind of thing. But yeah, great advice.
But yours is great as well, man. You can like someone, but you don't have to work with them.
Yeah. Well, Jedi, it's been a pleasure. Let's do this again sometime.
Thanks, David. And we'd love to have you on my podcast too, and we can talk more. We'd love to hear and get to know a bit more about you, man.
Sure.
I've been so swamped. I've not had a chance to dig into your story, so sorry about that.
Okay. Yeah. My pleasure. Well, we'll be in touch.
All right, man. Thanks, brother.